Hi, so I made a commitment to myself that every time I finish a book, I'm gonna do an online video book review of it. I just finished the book called The Power of Habit: Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business by Charles Duhigg. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but yeah. So I'm not entirely sure how to do a book review, but I guess what I'm gonna do with this video is I'm gonna share like three takeaways out of this book and what I've learned and how and why I'd recommend it for you. So first takeaway that I have with this book is the idea that it takes less effort and brain energy when you do something repeatedly as a habit. And where this idea, the first idea applied to me, is in terms of reading, writing a journal, and also exercising. So like the first time, like I decided and committed to start reading books, like reading 10 pages would be a struggle for me. And also for some people it would be. But after I've been reading at least like 1 page per day, when I decided to read like 10 pages, it wasn't as hard as the first time I've read it. So I think that type of progress in terms of making a habit out of things made me a lot happier. Seeing that there's improvement and that like improvement is malleable. So that's what I got out of seeing and understanding what how habits benefit you. The second thing that I've gotten from this book is the idea called keystone habits. So, keystone habits, as how I understand it, is when there's one habit that you do that affects your other habits in your life. Um, yeah. So I've watched a couple of videos on YouTube about keystone habits, and one of the things where you could start a keystone habit that is applicable for you could be three things that like you can do right now after this video. So number one is start reading, maybe a page or two, maybe start with that. Second is meditating, and essentially it's about noticing your breath and being deliberate and intentional about your breathing and being mindful about it. And third would be exercise. There's a whole other discussion as to why that's keystone habit. I felt that I've been doing it the past months in terms of meditation, reading, and exercise, even in the smallest bits, as long as like I do it in my morning routine, and has worked wonders for me in terms of taking action, in terms of talking to people, in terms of fulfilling goals, and yeah, that. So that's what a keystone habit is in terms of do one habit that affects your life and everything else, and yeah, starts with one simple habit that is accessible to you. But lastly, not the last takeaway that I'm getting from this book is about habit awareness. In terms of if we have habits, sometimes we are not aware what's causing them. And this book gives you the ability to understand why you do your habits. And I just want to share this one segment of the book that our habits may fit into 5 categories. Let me read it out for you. So, number one would be location, two would be time, three, emotional state, four, other people, or five, the immediately preceding action. So, I tried this out in terms of binge eating because I feel like I've been at the biggest that I've been in my entire life. And yeah, every time I have an urge to like eat or buy ice cream or like things that don't benefit me, I now have access to provide data in my journal to understand when I have that urge. I write down the location, I write down the time, I write down my emotional state, or I write down who am I with, or I write down the immediately preceding action. And if I get to do this like for one entire month, maybe I get to isolate what is the urge that is trying to push me to do my unhealthy habit, and then that allows me to understand and think for myself what is an alternative reward that I could give myself that satisfies that urge? But you wouldn't get to do that unless you get to isolate. Is it where you are that caused the urge? Is it the time of the day that caused the urge? Is it your emotional state? Is it the people around you, or is it the preceding action that caused the urge? So those are my three main takeaways out of The Power of Habit. I highly recommend it to people who would like to alter their lifestyles. And yeah, so number one, it takes less brain energy when you do something as a habit. Two, there are keystone habits where you do one habit and it affects other things about your life. And three, habit awareness and how to hack them. Thank you for giving time to listen and watch to this video. See you next time.